funny, I haven't been to Unity in a couple of years. Life took a different turn, so I've been, preoccupied. But the last time I went to Unity Village, I went on one of those nature walks, and the signage wasn't exactly accurate. And I found myself, I wanted to go for a mile walk. Well, 2 miles into it, I'm like, where's the end? And I was feeling 100%. And so they actually have little stations with phones you can call for help. So I stopped and called for help, and we don't have anybody. Then why do you have the phone? Anyway, 4 miles into the walk, I came back around, and I was absolutely pooped. But I kudos to whatever happened this year, and I do affirm everything that they say, and it's tremendous. It's a tremendous experience. But I also want to say, I'm going to go off script for a second and talk about Ricky Byers. I have a great Ricky Byers story. So every year when Ricky Byers was married to Michael, okay, they used to come east every year to go to the United Nations in New York City. Every other year, actually, every other year. And so I had just started my spiritual community on October 6th of 2002, and weeks into it, we didn't have a building. We rented a space. We were renting a little theater at that time. We didn't even have an office. The office was in my house. And but I got a phone call that was a friend of a friend who then called one of the people I knew from my community. And what happened was, Agape used to not be very organized. They're much better now, but so they had to raise money to pay for these journeys, and they would bring a large part of their choir. Yeah. And back in the day, Ricky's choir, when she was at Agape, was huge. It was huge. And so they were coming east, but they hadn't organized a choir or a performance, because that's how they pay for their money. And so because they waited till the last minute, they called all the bigger churches around, and no one wanted to say yes. No one did say yes, because in their mind it was too last minute. So this friend of a friend that knew my person, blah, blah, comes around to me, and they say, would you be willing to host a concert? I didn't have a building, but I said yes. And I want to teach you this. This is a lesson to learn. The power of yes. The power of an inspired yes. And so what happened was, that day, I got the phone call. The next day, my music director and I, because music was always live music was always going to be a very big part of what I did. And so we went around knocking doors at the local churches. Yeah. Until we found someone who actually responded, and they didn't charge us a penny. And we got use of this Gothic church in Montclair, New Jersey, and I organized buses to take us over to New York City to go see Michael's address at the UN, where the choir also performed. But then I had to bus the choir from New York City back to New Jersey to perform by us, and then back again. Now, how much time would you normally give to organize something like that? 5 months, 6 months, maybe a year? I had 17 days. Really want you to catch that. I had 17 days. The yes was so impacted the consciousness of everyone, and Spirit said, oh, hell yeah. 17 days later, and it was a glorious experience.
I was there.
You were there? Okay.
I was there.
I had a feeling when I saw you bobbing your head. I couldn't remember. I mean, there was a lot of people there. A lot of people came from New York.
It was packed. They all, and her choir all had handmade silk, different colored outfits on. Oh, kudos to you. I didn't know the backstory.
Yeah.
It was fabulous.
Well, I love it, because for years, if you still ask Ricky who's the little church that could, she'll know it was us. And she told that story for years. Yeah. So I'm sitting there and I'm preparing to come up here and talk to you, and all of a sudden I realized that inside your bulletin, by the way, in case you haven't noticed, there is a handout, because I thought in case you wanted to have any of this information, you can have it. So you do have this, you don't have to take a bunch of notes, some notes might be helpful. So I'm looking at the list and I'm thinking to myself, what really matters? 15 is a lot of points. Like, that's a lot of points, right? So, but then I'm looking and I realize if I were to whittle this entire list down to the single most important point in that list, it would be number 15. Act as if. That would be the most important point. However, as humans, do you get a little distracted? You act as if is pretty common, right? It's pretty common. You've heard that. It's not new. But we get distracted. What do we get distracted from? We get distracted by politics. We get distracted by our health. We get distracted by weather. We get distracted by our neighbors, by families, by criticism, right? All these things are things that often distract us from just acting as if. And so I realized everything else on the list is not what it's part of what you have to do, but it's part of getting everything out of the way that can interrupt act as if. Because if you and I really knew how to actualize that, Reverend Margaret wouldn't have much to say to you every Sunday. Because if you knew, yeah, you probably would. Because it's so true that those 3 words are so truthful and so powerful. But when our spirituality mixes with our humanity, it's where that comes into play, and we have to get these things out of the way. And so these other 14 points are really to support acting as if. And I want to be clear, I'm not here to speak to you about manifestation in terms of just making money. That's great too. But it's anything you would like to actualize. You want to actualize greater peace, friendships, whatever it is. Because our job, as far as I'm concerned, people who are studying this teaching, who are metaphysical, who are spiritual, our job is to do what Emerson said, which is to get our bloated nothingness out of the way, and to get that, an old-fashioned metaphysical term, stinking thinking.
Yeah.
Right? Remember that term?
Yeah.
You got stinking thinking! Because they were trying to be cute. But it's the truth. And the problem is it's been decades now since we heard some of these things, so it's lost some of its potency. And we've put them offside as if they were just bumper stickers, right? Pull those bumper stickers out. These things are true. So if we just start real quick on the list, release victim thinking. You cannot be associating or identifying yourself with being a victim and be a victor simultaneously. They cannot be contained in the same place at the same time. And I also want to create a distinction for you. Being a victim is not the same as being victimized. I know people in this room have been victimized. I've been victimized. That's an action, but I'm not a victim. That's an identity.
That's
Okay?
right. That's
So we
right.
want to be clear about that. We will never deny that something might have happened to you in your life, because the truth is, shit happens. And sometimes really crummy stuff happens. But it doesn't make you a victim. It just makes you one who has risen above. And if anything, it's a strengthener of your being. Discipline your inner dialogue. There's this great minister now in CSL. She's a young little thing. She's fantastic. Well, I actually think she's a they. She prefers they. So I get that a little confused yet. My apologies. They're adorable, and they have a blog, and it's called being or listening or monitoring, something like that, your inner shit talker, right? You and I, our job is to monitor and watch our minds. Not just when you're here on Sundays, not just when you're in a class, not just in a practitioner session, but when you walk out that door and you start thinking back about the celebration or the music or what Reverend Margaret said, if your mind goes down the road of heavy criticism or judgment, or those things, it's not that you don't have discernment, but that activity of mind interrupts your personal power. Am I clear?
Yes.
The activity of mind must be on board in the direction of the act as if. But unless you are disciplining your internal dialogue, often it is not supporting that part of you. Practice radical gratitude. I gotta tell you, if you just at home today, if you wake up in the morning, you go, thank God for this day. You don't want to do God, don't do God. I'm thankful for this day. I'm thankful for my breath. I'm thankful that I'm standing here. I'm thankful that I'm free. I'm thankful, whatever it is. Gratitude activates good, which is an attractor for more good. If I want to act as if, I want to act as if I'm grateful. All moments of all days. All of these things come together for your alignment. See the end in mind. Neville Goddard was so clear that you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And the workshop is going to be all about that. I'm grateful that we have come to a place in these centers where we have begun to talk about the somatic experience of changing our reality, learning to listen to the body, learning to pay attention to breath, learning to value how the body is a biofeedback mechanism. Because sometimes, you ever notice that you can lie to yourself? You can lie to yourself, but your body doesn't lie.
That's right.
Your body doesn't lie. So when we see the end in mind and we assume that it has to be body oriented, not just thinking oriented. We have to, and we're gonna, in the workshop too, we're gonna talk all about using your imagination to activate the physical experience of acquisition, of assumption, as Goddard calls it. Now, when I have a class, any of my classes, whether it's when I used to train practitioners, my forgiveness classes, my shadow classes, any of them, everybody gets pre-work. And the pre-work is begin a habit of non-judgment, non-gossip, and non-complaining. Why? Because that's your stinking thinking. And if you are ceasing these habits, you begin to grab hold and the discipline of the being worthy, being potent, being powerful, being deserving, which cannot happen if you are caught up in the gossip and complaining. So here's the thing. I want you to begin to associate something, all right? Really. Think of every complaint, take one hand, think of every complaint, put a little finger like this. Come on, put your hands up. And think of being creative and link them. Because I'm telling you that when you're complaining, you are creating. And unless you consciously unlink these two, if I bitch, moan, and complain about Reverend Michael or Reverend Margaret or anybody, if I'm in my complaining, I am creating more of what I don't want. Get it?
Yeah.
Yes.
So think of it like this. You must choose to unlink the two. Must. Otherwise, that activity is just, it's like worry. When you worry, you're making an investment in what you don't want. I know you've heard that. Surround yourself with belief builders. A few weeks back, I guess a while ago now, in August, I had the beautiful opportunity to go to Vancouver, Calgary. I went to Banff. I went to a conference up there. I stayed in the home of a lovely practitioner couple, and then there was another practitioner friend staying there, and all of our conversations were loving, and all of them, it's like we were walking around like high-fiving each other. Wow, you look good. That's smart. Wow, I love seeing you. Wow, that is fantastic. It was just like, it's like I was levitating. If your circle, if your personal circle does not do that for you, you need a new circle.
That's right.
You need to create what I call a me circle, which is a magnificent expression circle. The people you hang with, if they don't think you're wonderful, if they can't believe in your dreams, you need a new circle. You need a new circle. It sounds a little cold, but when you're seeking to be a fully expressed, full out, loving, compassionate being, the last thing you need is someone just dousing you with doubt. You don't need it. Honor your body. Yesterday, my friend who traveled with me, who's a practitioner at the center, we've been friends for years now, we had plans, but my body had a different plan. My body was having a full-blown allergy response to, I guess, whatever was going on in the air, and I was spewing, sneezing and sneezing and sneezing. And so we rested. We just turned and we rested. We didn't walk around feeling like, oh, we didn't do what we said, oh, we missed out. No, she supported me. We went and we rested. Your body needs to be loved by you. Not pushed to the brink. Sleep, rest, water, whatever that looks like for you, but give it to yourself. Now this one's a little bit testy. Some people don't like this one because it might be a little too revealing, but clutter. Clutter on the outside affects the clutter of your subconscious, and your subconscious clutter demonstrates as the outside clutter.
Yeah.
So it is a both end. Begin to clear this up, you'll feel it here. Begin to clear it here, your outside will start to reflect it. Why does this matter with manifesting? Because it's chaotic and confusing. It's distracting. An old story from my ex-husband who used to be heavily involved in landmark education. Any landmark people here?
No.
Oh, a couple, okay. So it's a self-help, self-improvement, transformational programming. And he was studying to be a leader, and so he was all, he loved it. He thought he was doing great, right? And he showed up the first night when he thought he was going to be like maybe in charge of something. And the leader, the actual leader that day, turned and looked at him and said, "Go check on the bathrooms." And he was like, bathrooms? He said, yeah, because when the mirrors are smudged and when the place is a mess, people are not paying attention to the lesson. They're paying attention to the distraction, right? Sometimes don't you notice things and you question? So before COVID, when we had a physical place, we had glass, front glass doors. I was a nut about cleaning those. If someone hadn't cleaned them on Sunday morning before you got there, you'd find me with Windex and paper towels. Because I didn't want you looking at the fingerprints. I wanted you present to the experience you came to get. So chaos and clutter absolutely distract you from what you came here to get. Anger in daily spiritual practices, absolutely. I bet you've been browbeat into hearing that, right? I bet Reverend Margaret and her practitioners have probably beat that into you so much that you might not be paying attention. So much you might start to ignore it, because that's what happens sometimes. She didn't get to be a minister because she prayed once and relaxed. Those who rise up in consciousness, those who become leadership, are people who have dedicated practices. They don't have to look the same, but the dedicated practices is that consistent alignment with the one, by any word, by any name, whatever you call it. But it requires dedication. Practitioners in the room, can I give an amen? Amen. Right? And maybe you're already doing that. But if you go home and you take these things and you put them in your recycle and you don't think about it again till Sunday, consider changing it. Consider start to add something. If not to your day, to your week. Maybe one day in between. You say your Wednesday night things are starting, or you have a Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. Because why? It's the practical side. It breaks the pattern of your thinking. So sometimes if we don't do anything, we come here on Sunday, oh, we feel good. And then we get busy. Anybody get busy? Got busy lives, right? And then you show up Sunday again, you go, oh yeah, right. Well, break the pattern by participating in something during the week, or a prayer partner, or something that is your spiritual practice. So you can create a new pattern of thinking. Detach from the how. You've heard this. Your desire is what, God's job is how. But we still, and I have trouble with this. I'm not like I used to, but if I had a dream to make an extra $50,000 in the year, I would be pretty preoccupied by how am I going to make it. Not anymore. But I tell you, it's not your job, especially when it comes into Neville. He wants you to activate the law and the actualization that he says imagination is God. So when we are activating our imagination, we are activating God. When you're in your car, and I find the car is a dangerous place, because sometimes when we think nobody's watching, anybody know what I'm talking about? You're in the car, you let loose a little, you might even bitch, moan, and complain a little bit in your own mind. You're never outside of it. Never.
Right.
Never. It's kind of annoying, but true. So if we're going to use our imagination, and if you think you're not using your imagination, then when you're complaining, you are wrong. Because as soon as you get those emotions activated, you are activating a reality. Hear me?
Yes.
This is truth. This is absolute truth. Celebrate your wins. Now with all the brain sciences, I'm here to tell you, your brain needs that dopamine win. Your brain needs to know, look, oh, I came to Sunday celebration. Oh, I took class, good for me. Oh, I went to Wednesday night, good for me. Because it needs the reward. You need to reward yourself for changing your pattern, for going in a new direction. Yes?
Yes.
All right. Stop comparing. Comparing is deadly. When you compare, you lose. Everybody, I want you all to hear me right now. Because if you think I'm not looking at you specifically, I am. Stop comparing yourself to anyone else. Stop thinking you're supposed to be something you're not. Stop giving yourself a hard time. It is time for you and I and everyone in this room and everyone, again, we had a great conversation the other night about the people that we influence. So your friends, your family, be the model. Don't compare yourself, and high five everybody around you so that every time you walk into the room, they think, whoa, something good is coming. Be that one. Be that one. Because you can't actually give something away unless you first own it. So if you are that bright light, I got news for you. You are already owning it. Forgive completely or forgive quickly. Of course, I would say this anyway, because that's my whole gig about being, the forgiveness queen. Maybe you might not remember that about me, because I don't remember what we did last year. The workshop we did. We had a lot of physical contact last year.
We're not doing that.
Not everybody loved it. Those who did.
Yeah.
But now I can slow down. I wanted to get those points out. There's not a big mystery about how to have the life you want, but it does require your focused attention and dedication, and to discipline your mind and your actions. You have to get all of it into alignment. Please affirm with me now. I align my mind, my heart, and my habits with spirit.
I align my mind, my heart, my habits with spirit.
And I manifest with ease, joy, and power.
And I manifest ease, joy, and power.
And it's not about the acquisition of things. It's about standing in your power. And when we do our healing work, which is the book back there, I don't know if I had it last year, it's my shadow book. When we take care of the shadow, if you don't know what that is, you can ask me after celebration. When we do our forgiveness work, we clear the vessel. You are the vessel. Right, we know the science of mind. We know the science of mind symbol, right? This is the open at the top, the all that is undifferentiated stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then you and I call it forth down through us by claiming and declaring that I now actualize love in my life in the most good and glorious ways. So I'm calling down the undifferentiated stuff to be the very essence of my life. And as long as nothing in me interrupts it, catch that. Because sometimes we carry stuff that interrupts it. As long as nothing interrupts it, it is going to actualize in my life. The interruption are these things. This is what interrupts the pulling down from spirit so you can demonstrate it in your life. It might sound a little big, but the truth is, it's these details.
Yeah.
It's God is in the details. It really is. Demonstration is in the details. And the workshop we're going to do today, and I want to really, I'm hoping to, not hoping, my intention is to leave you with a Neville practice that will work right into your life. It won't feel like a new thing you have to take on. It will be natural and honest and easily adaptable. That's what that's the intention of what we're gonna do today. I have some classes that you can, I have an email list you can sign up for, and I spoke to Reverend Brenda before. Those of you who are practitioners, every month now I'm offering a free practitioner the first Wednesday of the month, 8 o'clock at night, so it won't interrupt your thing. I'm offering a free training. Actually, if you're a therapist, a practitioner training, or a therapist, all of these are skill building workshops. They're free. They're free. So you have that information. It's all back there, and I'll be here to chat with you about that. The world's a little complicated right now, yes?
Yeah.
I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. We're having it's a bit of a shit show. Yes?
Yeah.
And you are needed. And you
Yes.
are needed.
Yes,
And
we
you are needed. Not needed to drive your agenda, but needed to be the place of love. Needed to bring truth. Needed to be a powerhouse of possibility. So wherever I go now, I keep saying to people, just like those Oprah moments, you're needed and you're needed and you're needed and you're needed, because together, when we come together, we will help to, maybe quiet the anger, quiet the hatefulness. And I think that's the thing that's most disturbing to me, is the amount of hatefulness that has been given airtime. It's deeply saddening to me. So, I have a little call and response I'd like you to play with me. Are you willing?
Yes.
All right. Your response is, I open to receive my good and my greater good.
I am open to receive my good and greater good.
Okay. When I release fear and doubt,
When I release fear and doubt,
I open to receive my good and greater good. Yep, let's try it again. So I'm going to call, you're going to respond. Yes. When I release fear and doubt,
When I
No!
Oh.
Good.
Okay,
Tell her what to do. I open to receive my good and my greater good. My turn. When I choose faith over force.
I'm open to receive my good and my greater good.
She's teachable, that's great. When I forgive and free my heart.
I'm open to my good and my greater good.
When I speak only what I desire.
I'm open to receive my good and my greater good.
When I walk as though it is already mine.
I'm open to receive my good and my greater good.
And when I finally accept the full measure of my divine birthright.
I'm open to receive my good and my greater good.
Hallelujah. Thank you.
Hallelujah.
Shall I read or no?
Oh, if you like, sure.
Okay, so what I want to note right now is that there's a power and a presence and a love. It ebbs and flows and moves and has its way in, through, and as each of us. What I know is that this beautiful spiritual community is a blessing and is blessed by the activity of the science of mind, our faith, and our conviction. May we all come together and move forward to be a powerful, loving consciousness of transformation and possibility on the planet today. I believe in who we are, what we do, and how we show up. And for this, I am so incredibly grateful. I let this be so, and so it is.
And so it is.